back to that story we told you about off the top of the broadcast, a deadly shooting in Hickory Hill with connections to Memphis rapper Yo Gotti. Fox 13's Lakia Scott joins us live tonight from St. Francis Hospital. That's where the victims were taken. Lakia, what were you able to find out? Good evening to you.
Good evening, Daniel. Well, at least 5 police sources have confirmed with Fox 13 that the person killed is Anthony Mims, also known as Big Jook. Now, Big Jook is the brother of rapper Yo Gotti.
This is close to the family of rapper Yo Gotti confirmed the man killed outside a Hickory Hill event center is Gotti's brother. Memphis police identified him as 47-year-old Anthony Mims, also known as Big Jook.
As District Attorney Steve Mulroy says, Govan asked for young Dolph to be murdered.
Mr. Govan has been indicted and is in custody for being involved in the young Dolph murder. He played the role of the person who solicited the murder.
Adolph Robert Thornton Jr. was born on July the 27th of 1985 in Chicago, Illinois. At the age of 2, Adolph and his family moved to Memphis, Tennessee. Adolph was raised alongside his siblings, 2 sisters and 2 brothers, mostly raised by his grandmother, Ida Mae, due to Adolph's parents' dependency of crack as a child. Adolph would only see his parents every few weeks. In his adolescent years, Adolph attended Hamilton High School, all while being the neighborhood barber. It wouldn't be long before Adolph returned to the streets to make his bread. Despite his grandmother's wishes, Adolph would continue to hustle in the streets. On March the 5th of 2008, Adolph's grandmother would lose her prolonged battle with lung cancer. Looking for a way out of the streets, Adolph would try his hand at rap, going under the moniker Young Dolph. Dolph would first garner mainstream attention for his guest appearance on OT Genesis' 2015 hot single, Cut It.
Cut it, cut it, cut it, cut it.
Which peaked within the top 40 of the Billboard Hot 100. The following year, Dolph released his debut studio album, King of Memphis, in 2016, which peaked at number 49 on the Billboard 200. The tone had been set for Young Dolph, as his album Rich Slave, released in 2020, peaked at number 4 on the charts. This success would, however, not come without drama and bloodshed by way of the infamous Yo Gotti Young Dolph beef. Roots of the Young Dolph Gotti beef began in 2014. When Dolph, who was then just emerging as a mixtape artist, began publicly bragging about turning down an offer to join Yo Gotti's CMG record label. However, the streets of Memphis would say that the beef was much deeper than not signing to Gotti's label. Still, the Dolph Gotti beef remained a background issue as Gotti's star power began to rise. Gotti, who got his start in the mid-90s as one of the city's quintessential street rappers, released the breakthrough LP, The Art of the Hustle, in 2016. It debuted at number 4 on the Billboard album charts, hit number 1 on the R&B and hip-hop charts, and quickly proved to be a breakthrough album for Gotti. The album would go on to spawn a top 5 rap and top 20 pop single, and Down in the DM, that went certified platinum.
It goes down in the DM.
The record also earned the support of his peers from Lil Wayne to Pusha T, who featured on the project. Kanye West would even perform with Gotti during a release party in Los Angeles. In the winter of 2016, Dolph again alluded to not signing with Gotti with a tweet posted to Twitter. Through 2016, the beef was largely between Dolph and members of Gotti's camp, namely CMG artist Black Youngster, who threw a Dolph diss into one of his tracks and filmed a video of himself prowling Dolph's South Memphis neighborhood, heavily armed. Gotti mostly stayed on the sidelines, and in September of that year downplayed any animosity between himself and Dolph. At the start of 2017, it seemed possible that the whole Gotti-Dolph beef might have been a manufactured beef by both men for publicity, though it was more likely Dolph's attempt to generate his own publicity by going after the better known and more established artists. In February of 2017, Dolph reignited the feud with a diss track that took dead aim on on Gotti, mentioning him as Ho Gotti. The song, Play With Your Bitch, suggested he had been intimate with Gotti's BM. Gotti would take the high road approach to the track, posting to Twitter and noting that he wouldn't stoop to Dolph's level. Eventually, after more Dolph disses, Gotti fired back with "Don't beef with me," while still refusing to acknowledge Dolph's name. Dolph would then reply with a video for Play With Your Bitch, which featured a Gotti lookalike being mocked. On February the 25th of 2017, while on tour in Charlotte, North Carolina, the vehicle Dolph was driving was shot at. Allegedly, more than 100 rounds were fired into the bulletproof car. Dolph was unharmed, performing a concert that same night.
Yeah, that video is incredibly hard to watch and listen to. Multiple guns. I counted more than 100 rounds fired over just the course of a minute.
In April, following the shooting, Dolph released his second LP, the fittingly titled Bulletproof, which debuted at number 36 on the Billboard charts. In May, Gotti associate Black Youngster was one of 3 men who surrendered to authorities in Charlotte for their alleged involvement in the Dolph shooting. According to the Charlotte Observer, Charlotte Mecklenburg police charged Black Youngster, Frederick Black, and Octavius Gardner with 6 counts each of discharging a weapon into an occupied property and felony conspiracy. Youngster was released on bail and charges against him were eventually dropped. Things would continue to escalate further in September of 2017 when young Dolph was shot in Los Angeles outside the Lowe's Hollywood Hotel. Subsequent media reports would suggest the incident was the result of Dolph's musical and personal feud with Yo Gotti.
Story tonight, bullets fly near the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Tourists ducking and a rap artist was hit and seriously injured. Tonight, police say an ugly rivalry may be behind that shooting. Kick On Night's Crystal Cruz is live in Hollywood right now with the latest on this investigation. Crystal.
Hi, Jeff. Highland and Hollywood back open tonight. So is the Lowe's. But now we know who police want to talk to help fill in the blanks.
And I never had no budget because I got it up.
The LAPD now wants to talk with rapper Yo Gotti following a shooting in front of Lowe's Hotel in Hollywood.
The individual you've mentioned has been possibly identified as being involved in what took place earlier. To what degree, we have no idea at this point.
100 shots.
Another rapper, young Dolph, in critical condition, shot several times in the body, and police say they have hotel security video they're now looking over.
In the video, an individual produces a gun, a suspect, and he fires toward the individual who was shot.
Detectives looking into the possibility of bad blood between rival rappers. Several months ago in North Carolina, young Dolph's SUV was shot at 100 times, but he wasn't in it. Witnesses heard the shots here in Hollywood, and nearby security video captured a person running from an SUV.
I've heard about 9 pops. It's like, you know, pop, and then there was a series. And then it stopped.
After young Dolph was shot, he walked to a nearby shoe store for help. The suspect's gold Cadillac Escalade was found at a gas station nearby, and officers detained 2 men for questioning. So again tonight, officers want to speak with rapper Yo Gotti, possibly staying at the hotel along with young Dolph's entourage. I just spoke with LAPD, who says young Dolph now stabilized. I'm Crystal Cruz live in Hollywood. I'll send it back to you in the studio. All right.
The Los Angeles Police Department denied Gotti, who was staying at the same hotel as Dolph, was a person of interest in the investigation. A few days after the incident, Corey McClendon of Memphis was arrested and charged with attempted murder. The year is 2020, the month of July to be exact, amid the COVID-19 pandemic. The animosity between Dolph and Gotti camps were rumored to have cooled down. Things had seemed to come to a halt. Then, out of nowhere, in the fall of 2021, things would explode. On November the 17th of 2021, young Dolph was shot and killed inside Makita's homemade butter cookies on Airways Boulevard in South Memphis. The damage was gruesome. Dolph had about 22 gunshot wounds scattered around his head, back, chin, neck, and arms, according to his autopsy report.
I was originally in Oklahoma City when I found out what happened.
And far, fans of Memphis-based rapper Young Dolph came to pay their respects, still in disbelief at this loss. They came to reflect at a memorial set up outside Makita's Cookies, where Dolph was shot and killed Wednesday afternoon.
I was in college when I was listening to him, and, you know, being independent and really, you know, standing your ground and believing in what you believe in. and really representing for the people and yourself.
And now those same people want to see justice in his death. This post by the Memphis Police Department showing images of the gunman has been shared more than 85,000 times since it was posted 24 hours ago. Police say they came from surveillance video and show two suspects in a white Mercedes approaching the business and shooting young Dolph several times. They're hopeful these photos will lead them closer to those responsible for his death, as his fans hope the community will allow police to investigate.
It just had to happen. The police gonna have to do their job. You know, people root for street justice, but that's not gonna do anything because the violence is just gonna continue to grow.
But instead, honor the life and legacy of a growing star and all the good he tried to do for his community.
If somebody can just, you know, do something positive and make something in remembrance of him and come forward and clear your conscience or whatever, but if not, whatever happens, it's gonna have to happen.
Reporting in South Memphis, Janae Lewis, WREG News Channel 3.
The murder of Dolph will set the streets of Memphis on fire as multiple bodies will begin dropping like flies. Over the next 2 years, Memphis authorities launched an investigation into Dolph's murder, eventually arresting and charging 4 men in the crime, including Dolph's alleged shooters, Justin Johnson, Cornelius Smith. The alleged masterminds, Hernandez Govan and Jamarcus Johnson, pleaded guilty to 3 counts of accessory after the fact. The men had been successful in ordering the planned hit on Dolph.
Getting you started with breaking news first at 6. 2 suspects are now charged in the murder of young Dolph. Tonight we're learning more about what led to their arrests. Thanks for joining us for the news at 6. I'm Greg Hurst.
I'm Stephanie Skurlock. The charges come nearly 2 months after the shooting death of young Dolph, whose real name is Adolph Thornton Jr. U.S. Marshals say 23-year-old Justin Johnson was captured this afternoon in Indiana. The second suspect, 32-year-old Cornelius Smith, was indicted today on multiple counts, including first-degree murder.
Now, Smith was arrested last month in South Haven, Mississippi for an auto theft involving the white car that was believed to be the getaway car in young Dolph's killing. That car was stolen at a gas station on Kirby Road a week before the murder.
Johnson, who goes by the rap name Straight Drop, posted on social media that he was going to turn himself in yesterday, but that didn't happen. He was captured today after being put on the TBI's most wanted list. Authorities say they'll release more information about his arrest tomorrow, and we'll be sure to keep you updated.
In January of 2024, Anthony Mims, aka Big Jook, was viciously shot and killed outside a Hickory Hill area restaurant. The January 13th murder of Yo Gotti's 47-year-old brother, a high-profile figure involved with Gotti's CMG record label, appeared to be a targeted assassination-style killing in retaliation for the murder of Dolph.
Back to that story we told you about off the top of the broadcast, a deadly shooting in Hickory Hill with connections to Memphis rapper Yo Gotti. Fox 13's Lakia Scott joins us live tonight from St. Francis Hospital. That's where the victims were taken. Lakia, what were you able to find out? Good evening to you.
Good evening, Daniel. Well, at least 5 police sources have confirmed with Fox 13 that the person killed is Anthony Mims, also known as Big Jook. Now, Big Jook is the brother of rapper Yo Gotti. Now, we were at that scene earlier tonight. Police say 2 men were shot outside Perion's restaurant and event center around 4:15. Now, that's on Winchester near Kirby. According to the Memphis Police Department, the victim was inside a vehicle at the time and was brought here to St. Francis Hospital, where he was pronounced deceased. Now, I'm also learning there was a second person who was shot and was also taken to the hospital. It has not been confirmed who the second person is, but we do know it is a man, and he was airlifted to Regional 1 in critical condition. Now, the Memphis Police Department spoke with us today in a press conference. Let's listen.
Right now, we do have video that we're analyzing, but we don't have a clear suspect identified at this time. But we know that a weapon was used, a firearm was used in this incident. We do feel like the individual that was shot was possibly targeted by the suspect.
Can you tell us whether one of the victims is Yo Gotti's brother?
I can't confirm anything yet.
Now, again, at least 5 police sources confirmed with Fox 13 that the person killed is Anthony Mims, also known as Big Jook. Big Jook, again, is the brother of rapper Yo Gotti. Now, according to police, there is at least one shooter, but there may be more involved.
Though photos of a car believed to have been involved in the murder were released immediately after the incident, no suspects have identified or charged in Big Jook's murder. On Monday, September the 23rd of 2024, Memphis native Cornelius Smith testified that he and a second person shot and killed young Dolph after Big Jook put a $100,000 bag on Dolph's head. Cornelius Smith identified himself and Justin Johnson as the 2 people seen on a November the 17th, 2021 surveillance video exiting a white Mercedes outside a Memphis cookie store about 30 seconds after young Dolph entered the store. Afterwards, opening fire in broad daylight. Cornelius was testifying in the third day of Justin's trial on charges of murder, conspiracy to commit murder, and being a felon in possession of a firearm. Cornelius himself also faces murder and conspiracy charges. Justin's attorney, Luke Evans, told the jury in opening statement that they should not trust Cornelius' testimony because he was just trying to save himself. Deputy District Attorney Paul Harriman, in opening statement, said young Dolph was determined to make it on his own as an artist and also with his own label, PRE. Trying to make it on your own as an up-and-coming rapper is no easy task in Memphis without creating enemies. It's no secret that Yo Gotti, the founder of rival record label CMG, wanted young Dolph to be an artist on his label. However, the offer was swiftly turned down by young Dolph, with young Dolph going on to later write diss tracks directed at the CMG label, its artist, and its number 2 person, Big Jook, ultimately taking shots at Gotti as well. Young Dolph, who had survived previous shootings, was shot multiple times in September of 2017 after a fight outside a Los Angeles hotel. In February of that same year, Dolph's SUV was shot at in Charlotte, North Carolina, more than 100 times. The incident was the inspiration for the song 100 Shots, in which Dolph said he survived because he had bulletproofed his panels on his whip. Cornelius Smith, who said he was shot in the arm and leg by young Dolph's brother, Marcus Starton, as he fled the cookie store shooting, testified he had only received $800 prior to his arrest, stating that his attorney was later paid another $50K by Big Jook. Cornelius testified that his young son had died a few months before, which triggered his dependency to pills and not caring about anything. Cornelius would go on to state that his conscience started bothering him only later after he had sobered up in prison. Jamarcus Johnson pleaded guilty in June of 2023 to 3 counts of serving as an accessory after the killing by helping Smith and Justin Johnson, his half-brother. Jamarcus Johnson acknowledged helping the 2 shooting suspects communicate by cell phone while they were on the run from authorities and helping one of them communicate with his probation officer. Jamarcus Johnson has not been sentenced. Hernandez pleaded not guilty to organizing the killing